Her PR move. Blake Lively then moved 11 days later to file a lawsuit. So now she has filed a lawsuit. And I don't think she ever wanted to do this. I think she genuinely wanted this to be a PR move, and she wanted to leak it to the New York Times. She thought the public would take her side with no questions asked. And instead the public is saying, no, we have a few questions here. And Justin Baldoni is going all the way to the wall on this. His lawyer is already giving interviews explaining just how nasty her team has played this. The lawyer's name is Brian Friedman. He stopped by the Megyn Kelly show. And here's some of the things that he had to say. First, he says there used to never be a sexual claim. There never was a sexual claim until she went to that civil rights office until midnight waiting for Blake Lively to drop this freaking amendment. Okay, am I the only person with their hands raised? Are you guys just here to plagiarize because you know I went through every line like a complete psycho? That's perfectly fine. I just want you guys to know rather, that if you're here because you think there's some bombshell in here, as her lawyers were alluding to, oh, wait until everybody sees everything, you're going to be sorely disappointed, because if clickbait was an amendment, this is it. Okay, I cannot believe it. And there's so much more going on here. Now we really see the target of everything, I think, really the linchpin for her lawsuit, the person that she went after. We have to discuss Isabella. But on the 20th, which was, I think, last Friday, Blake's team filed for a slightly modified type of protection order that would include increased protections to third parties. Now, we covered this filing. I told you that essentially what was buried in it was what I would describe as the Taylor Swift clause. I'm just calling it the Taylor Swift clause, essentially allowing the respective lawyers to just deem anything that they want attorney's eyes only, right? So they're like, they get a document that, and they're just like, you know what, this one, you can see it, Brian, but it's attorney's eyes only. You can't show that to anybody else. So it's really important that you guys understand this differentiation. Like, we have to distinguish between the two, what a standard court protective order is and what Blake Lively's team is asking for, which is an attorney's eyes only designation. Blake Lively's team is essentially requesting the right for their attorney to just designate that AEO, attorney eyes only, because that might unfairly harm the reputation of Taylor Swift. So to be clear, if the judge actually grants that kind of a protection order, the attorneys would become the judge of what exactly could be designated AEO. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I used a lot of examples there that were very strong examples. So let's revisit the language from Blake's initial filing.
Blake Lively's legal battle with Justin Baldoni just took another dramatic turn. Now Candace Owens has entered the fray. Known for speaking her mind, Candace isn't holding back, and this time she's coming straight for Blake with a chilling warning to her entire team. As Blake's legal squad scrambles behind the scenes to contain the fallout, Candace is making sure her version of the truth is heard loud and clear. But why is she stepping into this escalating courtroom showdown? And what exactly is she warning Blake about? What began as a simple industry dispute has exploded into a full-blown legal war, with shocking leaks, lawsuits flying in all directions, and a growing list of allegations. Now, with Candace Owens in the mix, the stakes are even higher. The mere mention of her name has already sent shockwaves through Hollywood. But what does she know? What's her agenda? And why is she calling out Blake now? This legal saga is spiraling into something far bigger than anyone ever expected.
This is her talking as Blake, right? This is Blake giving Justin suggestions. She can't reasonably expect him to respond as Ryle, but then to be fair to her and see it from her angle, her insisting that they talk more could be her way of saying, I'm not as comfortable with intimacy in this moment. I'd rather this scene be, or at least I thought this scene was going to be more about talking and dancing. So we could see that, especially when at some point she spins and starts engaging with one of the extras. And this is something that I always look for when I'm trying to gauge stress or nervousness. And we see this in poker games a lot, or in all kinds of games of deception. And it's funny because I've said this on the channel before, and a lot of commenters have said, oh my God, I do that too, where in a game of deception, when someone is actually stressed by something. So in acknowledging the audience, she's clearly talking as Blake. In fact, she's been talking as Blake this entire time. So I keep going back to how strange it is that she would say he was talking to her as Justin when she keeps talking to him as Blake. It's not like she was trying to be Lily and he's cutting that off to be Justin. that's really the way it was represented at first. That's not the way it seems at all. Furthermore, when he brings up Ryan Reynolds, she really doesn't seem to mind. She doesn't seem uncomfortable with it. She's not changing the subject. She's not like not responding and trying to go back into the character of Lily. She addresses it. She acknowledges how they're always talking and, I forgot to tell you something, and how that's their relationship. And then when he talks about his relationship with Emily, not only does she comment on that and talk about that and laugh about that, she also says, if that happened to her, she'd be like, oh my God, I found a sociopath.
Inside Blake Lively's camp, it's full-blown panic mode. Reports are swirling that after Justin Baldoni dropped bombshell footage contradicting Blake's claims, she quietly altered parts of her lawsuit. But instead of strengthening her case, this move is raising serious doubts. If the leaked footage directly contradicts Blake's allegations, why the sudden revisions? That's the million-dollar question. Now, speculation is mounting. Did Blake
said that another actress had filed a complaint, making it seem that it was about Baldoni. However, that actress was Jenny Slate, and according to the Hollywood Reporter, it had nothing to do with Justin Baldoni. Her complaint was against his producing partner, Jamie Heath. I'm gonna read this briefly because the wording matters. Quote, it stemmed from an interaction with Heath about the apartment Slate had rented in New York City, where It Ends With Us was shooting. Slate, who has a toddler, told him, his producing partner, she wasn't thrilled with the space she had rented, but that moving wasn't an option because she didn't want to lose the sizable security deposit, around $15,000.
backtrack to cover her tracks? Candace Owens certainly isn't buying it. She's making it clear that something in this tangled legal battle doesn't add up. And just when things couldn't get any more chaotic, a shocking twist has emerged. Both Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are reportedly threatening to sue media outlets covering their lawsuit. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the journalism world, with many seeing it as a blatant attempt to silence the press and control the narrative. For Candace Owens, this is a massive red flag. A fierce advocate for free speech, she's warning Blake's team that trying to manipulate media coverage will only backfire. But the drama doesn't stop there. More names are being pulled into the chaos. Comedian Jenny Slate is now in the mix, with reports suggesting she may have had her own grievances about the situation. Meanwhile, Chelsea Handler isn't holding back, publicly mocking the entire legal circus and calling out the absurdity of the accusations flying around. With Hollywood stars weighing in left and right, the pressure on Blake's team is only intensifying, and there's no telling where this legal battle will go next. Justin Baldoni is going on the offensive, calling out Blake Lively's legal team and accusing them of trying to bury key evidence before the public gets a chance to see it. If these claims are true, they could be a game changer in the lawsuit. The question now is, why would Blake's team want to hide evidence? What are they afraid of? This latest accusation is only making Justin's side look more credible, and Candace Owens is making sure the world is paying attention. But here's where things take a serious turn. If Blake is truly the victim, and if Justin is guilty of wrongdoing, why does it seem like her team is in full-blown damage control instead of simply clearing her name? Every move they make seems to backfire spectacularly. One of the biggest missteps? Blake claimed that another actress had filed a complaint, seemingly implicating Baldoni. But that actress, Jenny Slate, had an entirely different issue. Her complaint was actually against Baldoni's producing partner, Jamie Heath. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Slate had raised concerns over a rental dispute in New York City while filming It Ends With Us. The situation had nothing to do with Baldoni, and now this misinformation is coming back to haunt Blake's legal team. Adding fuel to the fire, shocking reports claim Blake's PR team is trying to intimidate content creators into staying quiet. About the lawsuit. If true, this is a huge mistake. Candace Owens has sounded the alarm, warning that targeting independent voices, whether journalists or online creators, will only backfire. The internet never forgets, she says, arguing that attempting to silence people only makes Blake's side look more guilty. And just when you thought things couldn't get any stranger, Reporters are now allegedly being instructed not to ask Blake about Justin Baldoni during interviews. This bizarre media lockdown is raising eyebrows because, let's be real, if Blake had nothing to hide, why go to such extreme lengths to avoid the topic? The more her team tries to control the conversation, the more red flags they raise. Instead of letting the truth play out, they're reportedly shutting down questions, pressuring media outlets, and silencing online voices. But here's the problem. The harder they try to suppress information, the more people start digging.